feel bad for Modigliani. I feel good for me.
You name him, he paints them. He'll do your Doofy, a Van Dongen, a Derain, a Braque, a Bonnat, a Vlaminck. Would you like a nice Matisse?
Many of these drawings are very weak. Matisse's lines were never that sure as mine. He was hesitant when he made the drawing, you know. He added to it a little more and a little more. It wasn't as flowing, it wasn't as sure as mine. I had to hesitate to make it more Matisse-like. Well, I would like to see any expert or any museum director or any art dealer would know which one is a Matisse and which one is by Elmire. And I'm ready to accept the challenge.
One nod from an expert in that piece of canvas would be worth maybe a couple of $100,000. And now, with your permission, a bit of verse by Kipling. When first the flush of a newborn sun fell on the green and gold, our father Adam sat under the tree and scratched with a stick in the mold. And the first rude sketch that the world had seen was joy to his mighty heart, till the devil whispered behind the leaves, "It's pretty, but is it art?"
We've got a Picasso, another Picasso. My name is David Henty and I'm an art forger. And Modigliani, I started forging in prison. I went in the art class. I thought, oh, I'll just read about art. I'm sure it was something I loved. And they said, no, you've got to paint. And for the first time I picked up the brush, it was like a revelation. I just couldn't believe it. So I was doing forging everyone, basically. And I just loved it. And I've been doing it ever since. That was 35 years ago. I got a Banksy. Good artist copy, great artist still. David Henty does both. I've always liked stealing. I'm interested in how they get different effects. And not having had any lessons, you know, I'd look at something and think, well, how do they get that there? And so I'd want to find out. And the only way to find out is to try and do it, try and replicate it. And that's what I've been doing ever since, really. If it goes in and someone thinks it's real, yeah, I'm probably doing a service, because I think, because they're not making any more. There's William Waterhouse. That's the Lady of Shalott. People love art. I did a Van Gogh one day, and a woman walked in the gallery. She saw it and she broke down in tears. And she came back and bought it for 10,000. You know, so art has that effect on people, and certainly these iconic paintings do. That one there, that Supper at Emmaus, that's in the museum, in the National. So you can't buy it. You probably couldn't afford it if you could buy it. You know, if someone wants that, it's a full size, it's exactly the same size as the original. There's certain artists that go to your style, lend to your style, which is similar. Lowry is obviously one that I'm well known for. So I've done a lot of his and got away with a lot of his. Modigliani's another one. I love Modigliani. I love Soutine. And I find all those type of ones really easy. Just because you have an affinity with the artist. I'm very collected now. for the last 10 years, people have been collecting my works. So I'm in a lot of galleries all over the country, and I have exhibitions, and I usually do really well, sell out and stuff, and yeah, it's a lovely way of making a living. And now I'm a straight forger.
We have until dusk with Wolfgang Beltracchi, and the clock is ticking. By nightfall, he has to be back in an open prison.
Was that always part of it for you,
Yeah.
the thrill of the crime?
Sure. That was a part.
Just enough time for him to paint us a Max Ernst, and for us to get inside his head.
That was the most expensive Campendonk ever sold. Nearly 3 million euros.
Except it wasn't a Campendonk.
Yeah, it was not a Campendonk.
He's probably the most successful art forger in the world. He says there's no one he can't do.
I can do everyone.
Picasso.
Oh, Picasso.
The scale of the fraud was breathtaking. Here, a Christie's catalogue with a Beltracchi fake on the cover. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York, among a host of galleries that were had. The actor Steve Martin, just one of the private collectors that bought one. Everyone fell for it. 4 decades, hundreds of paintings, millions of pounds. This self-proclaimed hippie ended up with houses across Europe, an estate in France, and a yacht. He called it Voodoo Child. He had to sell it all as payback when he got caught. So, how did he do it? Beltracchi is a very good painter. He's knocking out a pretty convincing-looking Max Ernst for us.
I really like this kind of work. I don't think exactly, but I think I have done 25 Max Ernst.
Beltracchi didn't just copy originals, he found a hole in the artist's body of work and filled it, a missing painting, or one that could have existed. He would immerse himself in a painter. It was method acting on canvas. In his head, these forgeries were masterpieces. And before the art world knew any better, they tended to agree.
I love my paintings.
Yeah,
All of them.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
And my best Campendonk was the Campendonk they catch me with. It was the Campendonk with the red horses.
Yeah.
It was the most expensive Campendonk ever sold. Nearly 3 million euros.
Except it wasn't a Campendonk.
Yeah, it was not a Campendonk. It was for me, yeah. Sure. Oh, it was the best one.
Do you mean the best one of yours?
The best Campendonk.
Is that what you think? You think that your Campendonk was the best
Yeah,
Campendonk?
that's a little bit difficult. But it was sold as the best Campendonk was ever sold.
Yeah. But was it the best Campendonk?
Yeah, sure.
And behind every great forger, you were the Bonnie to his Clyde.
Maybe.
Hi, Bonnie.
His wife, Helena, helped source period-appropriate materials, every detail correct. And then they went further.
This photograph was made in France in our bedroom.
She posed as her grandmother, hung the forgeries up behind her, and then pretended she'd inherited them. When they were eventually caught, she got 4 years in prison. He got 6.
He's a forger, sure. He's a criminal, sure. But he's an artist also.
You're still standing by your forger?
I'm still standing by my husband, sure.
Ja. Die können sich das nicht vorstellen mit unserer Liebe, Lene.
What did he just say?
For a lot of people, it's not easy to understand what it is a real love.
Red painting with horses was to be his undoing. He made one mistake. A pigment, titanium white, which wasn't in use at the time. Beltracchi says the ingredient wasn't listed on the tube. Either way, the painting ended up in the hands of his nemesis.
The sort of index case for us, case zero, as it were. And it was a normal job. It came in for analysis. I did my job. I wrote a report.
And what did your report say?
The report came to the conclusion that it couldn't possibly be what it was representing itself to be. So to that end, the report was essentially saying that this painting is a fake.
The report first triggered a civil case, then a criminal one.
Apart from the hedge fund managers and the big money men in the art world, who got hurt here?
There were paintings that have gone into public collections one way or another. So to some extent, public money has gone into these things, whether it's through direct purchase or tax breaks. And they're there on the walls for people to go and see that they are being deceived by these things where they're not recognised.
Other casualties? At least one gallery had to close when the truth came out, and several collectors doing it for the love of it were badly stung. On the studio wall, police evidence bags as souvenirs, and Beltracchi sticking to his line of forgery as performance art.
The bit I'm struggling with, though, is why didn't you just paint this and not pretend that it was one of his? That's the bit I don't understand about your rationale.
That was my art. It was my artwork.
I know it was, but why didn't you just say, this is something that I've done, like what he would have done? Why did you go the extra bit and actually go to such lengths to pretend that it was one of his?
It was nearly one of his.
I know it was nearly one of his, but why didn't you just say, this is nearly one of his?
Because then I don't got 600,000 euro for the painting.
I see.
Yeah, sure. Huh?
Yeah.
They don't give me that money.
I see.
I earned a lot of money with these paintings.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
It was also the thrill of seeing expert after expert verifying his fakes as the real thing. It was a damning indictment of the art world.
I'm too good for them. That's their problem. And the problem is they think they can look at the painting and say, that's this or that. And therefore I have shown them a mirror, you know?
Is that right? Was that part of it for you, showing a mirror back to the art world?
It was one of my, it's a part of my history, sure.
So you wanted to catch them out. You wanted to trick the art world. You wanted to expose the art world for what you thought
I must do it. It was part of my work, sure.
The finishing touches to our Max Ernst / Beltracchi. Thanks to the discovery of that pigment, titanium white, he's now paying back half of all his present earnings to the people he conned. But there's more to the deal that was done.
Part of the contract is not talking about certain things, isn't it? I'll take that as a yes. Is it because you have secrets, you know secrets about the art world and the art market that they would prefer you not talk about?
Well, sure I know secrets, because I was in this business a long time. Everybody who works in this business has secrets.
Experts say there are hundreds of unidentified Beltracchi fakes still out there. And one last twist. Beltracchis are now valuable in their own right. This one will fetch a few thousand. So he's not giving it to us. The light is fading. Soon time to leave for prison again.
If you were to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
One thing is sure, I never take titanium white. That's true.
I discovered that talent of mine to be able to draw or paint in a manner of so or so. The island is simpatico, as they say in Chinese. I find the people amusing. Yes.
Are you ready?
There is always a group of born in Dracula's land. Okay, please. You know, he lives in Ibiza or is in Ibizenko, because the ones you carry in your hand, no. But even if you go on we exactly in 5 minutes to make, you know, and it assured my living for the next month or 2 months, you know. I would like to see that poor Hungarian refugee who would have resisted of that temptation. Scandinavia, I sold 5 drawings to a big gallery called the United or International Gallery in Stockholm. The money I got somewhere around between $5,000 and $10,000 just for drawings. I took a one-way ticket to South America. I settled in Rio on my own paintings. I didn't want to paint anything but my own paintings. Somehow I got tired of Rio. I went to United States, and I stayed on ultimately 12 years in the United States. I am freezing. Wait, what is happening here? Where's the cold coming in?
There was a door open downstairs. I shut it.
I'm absolutely freezing. I must put something on. I'm sorry. I have to put something on, but I cannot stand the cold. So tomorrow the party is a big party, so don't miss it tomorrow at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
Ibiza is not a place of snobbish society. That's not London, it's not Paris, it's not Omaha. It is Ibiza, and that's the charm of Ibiza, and that's what makes Ibiza why we like to live here. Well, I invite you both for a big party tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
At 8 o'clock, a big party. That is Montesol. It is the place where people come by between 10 and 12. They read their paper, they read other people's letters, they tell who slept with whom that night, on how it happened, and everybody minds everybody else's business very intensely. I remember some years ago, somebody made a very nasty remark about my private life. And I saw the person sitting on a Montesol in the morning at 12 o'clock, surrounded by some people, and I walked straight over to him and I said, "Is that remark true you've been saying, you said yesterday?" And he says, "Yes, what about?" I said, you who is sleeps with everyone you can get hold of, you who cheat your wife, who doesn't send money for your children, you who run away, who screws around, you who make the orgies in your house, you are the last one to criticize someone. Would you like to come tomorrow? I'm having a cocktail party with France. If you feel like to come, do come. Bring Maria or anybody who wants to. Right? Could be in the style of Matisse, or in the style of Modigliani, style of Picasso, style of Dufy. I don't copy. I never copied one. About Matisse, of course, even a painting like this one, he made a whole series of the same. You know, he made 10, but each one of them different version. Mine is one version, but it's not a copy of any of them who exist. Matisse drawings line were never that sure as mine. He was hesitant when he made a drawing, you know. He added to it a little more and a little more. It wasn't as flowing, it wasn't as sure as mine. I had to hesitate. I had to hesitate to make it more Matisse-like. I don't feel bad for Modigliani, I feel good for me. He worked very little, he died very early, so if they added to fewer paintings or fewer drawings, it's not going to destroy his oeuvre, not in the least. If I would have made hundreds of Modigliani, possibly yes, but I didn't make hundreds of Modigliani, I made few Modiglianis, and they were recognized by Madame Modigliani and by all the great experts. Yes, yes, I made some Picasso without any trouble, and I sold them. Matter of fact, as far as I know, one of the dealers went to Picasso for authentication and asked, is that by you? Is that by you? How much you paid? He said $100,000. Well, that must be. I'm sure it's by me if you paid that much for it. Let's hope he's home, yeah?
This is his car, isn't it?
Yeah. David, I come to invite you for a big party for tomorrow.
Oh, nice of you. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I have a terrible cold.
Yeah, but don't worry about nothing. Now, come on, let's walk somewhere here. I would prefer to sell my own paintings and my own drawings. I don't think so I ever felt great about, you know, to fool people. I do feel amused about that I'm able to fool once in a while somebody very, very pompous and somebody very pretentious. That I like, that idea. But, you know, to live on it, you know, and on making it more than necessary, I never did beside, you know. I unhappily sold everything what I sold very miserably. The big money what was never made by me. It was always made by the dealers and the people who resold it. What I got for it was a token. I would like to get something like that, but a little bit wider. Somehow wider with that cross section, you know, as I explained it to you the last time, you know. So we take a measure and we put it on, yes, we make it as much, yes. I think it's, also that one is, I think, very beautiful. And so next time I come in, we make the measure of it, and you do that, okay? You make me a surprise. As long as it's all, you know, being a poor refugee, you know, in Ibiza, you know, can't afford too high prices. To prove my point to the world, that very point, what I always insisted, that the so-called experts are people who are greatly pretentious, pretend to know something, what they only know very superficially. The so-called art directors are probably excellent people to raise money for their art institution, but their knowledge on art is absolutely negligible. They could do very well without them, the world. Well, Cliff Irving left Ibiza for New York.
I wanted to find out what it was really like to try and get an expertise on a fake. And I asked Elmire to do 3 drawings for me, 2 Matisse and a Modigliani, which he did before lunch, and put a little coffee stain on the edge of the Modigliani to make it look really as if Modigliani had done it in some Paris cafe. I then took the 3 drawings to the Museum of Modern Art and gave them some tall tale that I had inherited them from an aunt in France, and I had no idea how she'd gotten them. I didn't even know the aunt. And I'd heard so much about fake art lately that before I sold them, I wanted to find out if they were genuine. The museum examined them for 2 hours and came back with the verdict that they were absolutely genuine, and in fact were horrified that I wanted to sell them.
It's a true story. The story is absolutely true.
What happened to this drawing now?
Well, Mr. Irving pretends that he destroyed them. Oni svaki mali pas. I don't think so. Mr. Irving's character is exactly a character who would destroy something that he got an offer of 15,000 per it. I think it's a nice security in a bank vault that could be unwrapped in 15 years again. But I'm not accusing him anything. I was mildly surprised after I asked him for 15 times, where are the drawings? Because our agreement was that he brings them back to me. That he said, well, I destroyed them.
My personal feelings about Elmire are very mixed. I find him charming and lovable. He has developed a fiction about his life. If you were to put it to Elmire that he had taken advantage of the world, that he had cheated people, he'd be horrified. In Elmire's mind, truth and fiction have become totally intertwined.
The night previously in a restaurant called Olivo, somebody walks over to me, matter of fact, Brigitte de la Victoire, who says Jacqueline de Reeves, who arrives, who's a woman of fame and charm and elegance and wealth, and also one of the best dressed women who matters a great deal in our world. So she says, Jacqueline de Reeves wants to know you. Can she visit you tomorrow? I said, naturally. So Jacqueline de Reeves next day at 7 o'clock in the evening arrives. She walks in, my dear, says, I must meet you. We have so many friends in common. Every time I return to Paris, people ask me, have you met Elmire? So finally, I want to meet you. And you know, I want to meet the myth of our century, because you are the myth of the 20th century.